Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video by Jessica Gould of Gould Consulting. The May revise for California 2023-2024 budget just came out. So as a result, we just wanted to show you what that looks like. The governor just did his press release, but it also literally just came out today. So let me share my screen and get things started. First of all, this is the full budget. To find it, you want to go to ebudget.ca.gov, which I will bring you back here. So this is it, ebudget.ca.gov. May revise summary PDF is what will get you to the previous screen, and we're back at the full budget. Now, this gets quite complicated. It's 137 pages. I have Adobe on my screen, so it automatically opens with Adobe, but it's compatible with any PDF reader. The main thing to know about the budget is what section you are focused on as a person or as an organization. So, for example, this is the table of contents. The disability population is oftentimes in the health and human services section, which if you see here, it says it's on page 47. Housing and homelessness is on page 40 or 65, sorry. 65. So I am not going to go into a deep analysis on both of these, but I will show you approximately what's going on in these two spaces. So let's do health and human services first, which is on page 47. So we do control find. And I mean, this is so you don't have to go all the way down to page 47, but you can if you want. That didn't work. So I'm just gonna have to go all the way down. Okay. Again, this is a little higher education. It's what I joke about is that the things he covers in his announcement to the public is the things in the first 20 or so pages of the budget. But as promised, we're almost there. We are going to get to the health and human services. There we go. So health and human services, again, this is for the developmental disability population. And the charts are right here. You have to, this is where, as I said, knowing where your system falls pays off. But they are all listed. So the chart is a little bit of just a pie chart of roughly how much each system gets. Let me go up a page so you guys can see that the developmental services system, which is regional centers, etc., it's a decent part of the remainder of the budget that isn't Medi-Cal. So it's $14.1 million. And that is the whole entire state. That's the one piece that most people do not understand when they look at this budget, is it is not talking about, sorry, it is not talking about the one part of the budget. It's talking about the whole system gets this much money, which is why it's traditionally underfunded. Because when you talk about the amount of people covered, there always seems to be a gap. But the way I look at things is the better you understand where these numbers come from, the better you can fight for them. So again, if you go here, this blue chart, it is simply between the DDS and the DDS budget and the regional centers, and then SDP or SSP. So these are your breakdowns. And it even shows the change rate. So it's following the two charts. And then that's it. This one page is all it is. If you were to compare it, so I am going to go back to the May revise and just this page here. So this is 2023. And just as a comparison, I want you, those watching this video, to understand the rough change or change rate within the system overall. So we're comparing it by years. We just did this year, summary, revised budget summary, and ooh, it looks a little different, sorry. So again, this is where you have to know where to look. Health and Human Services, still same thing. You click it. And it will bring you to regional center budgets and so on and so forth. So if you look at it in comparison, there was a slight increase. 12.7 to 14.7. So again, it's 12.7%. If you look at the current budget, let's go back. Or PDF. Just trying to give you guys an idea. 12.7% on developmental disability services last year. This year it was and sorry about that because I have to go all the way back to the page I was on. am just showing this to illustrate the point that even though the change isn't great, that a lot of the reason why there is any change in increase, even in a restricted year, is advocacy efforts and people fighting for the fact that the system is underfunded. So again, 12.7 compared to 14.1. It's about a 2% increase, but hey, it's an increase to the system. So that's the way you kind of have to look at the slight changes, especially in the nature of the discussion given by the governor. This year was described as a year of constraint, conservability. Basically, they wanted to preserve as much funding as possible due to economic uncertainties. And this is statewide. This is not specifically the developmental system or the housing system or any system involving disability. However, it is my professional analysis that the increase between last year and this year, even though it is 4%, is due to the fact that people fight. Otherwise, this budget would have been slashed. It's a third-party system developed for the community. So advocacy efforts do work. And as promised, I said I would look at the housing industry. Can't promise this same outcome there, but let's see. Again, just getting to the right section is always the tedious part of this budget. It's long. Housing and homelessness. There we go. And again, talks about adjustments. Foreclosure. Okay. So again, each section is a couple of pages long. And the unfortunate part about this division is that it doesn't specify developmental disability in housing. And my personal analysis of this section or professional analysis in this section is going to be a little less accurate, only because I have worked with the housing industry for about a year and a half. So how this general fund influx mentioned in the third paragraph specifically impacts the disability population is hard to say. Because they are not automatically included in the conversations, as is the case in many situations. But the influx, in my opinion, does give hope to that actually occurring, because there's money being flowed into the system, just as seen in the developmental and other system previously spoken about. So that is my professional analysis on this budget. Even though, again, we are in a year of constraint, that was the main fear. If you were to compare the 2 years, it was actually a slight increase in the developmental service system, and looks like a possible positive outcome for the housing system as well. Although this is a more generalized analysis here, because it says 17.5 million in general fund, and other housing programs, including, again, I would honestly need to bring in my housing experts to give you guys a better idea of how the disability community fits into this analysis. But it does, in my opinion, increase their chances. So that is my analysis of the California budget. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis and continue to fight in the sense of logical argument and generalized fact-based analysis, because it simply works. Thank you for tuning in.